Today's first sector expert is Professor Leopoldo Mendoza Espinosa, Leo, who has dedicated his career to working on the complex problems on both sides of the U.S. Mexico border. Leo lives in Ensenada, Baja California, famous for being downstream of most water users in the Colorado River system, including some famous big dams like Hoover Dam in Arizona, Nevada. He also has the dubious honor of being one of my oldest and dearest friends. And when I say dearest, you need to know that I let him and his amazing wife bring their lovely son to my otherwise child-free wedding. So I was absolutely delighted to have a long conversation with him. We both got much too carried away. Here are some highlights.
I work at the Oceanographic Research Institute of the University of Baja California in Mexico. I've been working here for 25 years now. And yeah, that's right. We know each other for a very long time.
Oh, wow.
In this time, I have been working especially with wastewater treatment and reuse, and also with water management issues in Baja California and in the frontier with the U.S. border.
Okay. That fits perfectly with this webinar's theme, which is we all live upstream. And I'm going to kick off with the contentious subject. So the Colorado River, of course, it serves both the US and Mexico. Climate change is reducing its flow. So how do you see this affecting the bilateral water agreements between your two countries over the coming sort of years and decades?
Yes, the Colorado River is a very large river, and it provides water to almost 40 million people in 7 US states. And in Mexico, it provides water to 2 Mexican states, to Baja California and Sonora, to approximately 2.7 million people. Now, there is a water treaty in between both countries, signed in 1944, in which the U.S. Should allocate water through the Colorado River to Mexico. It should allocate a volume of 1,850 million cubic meters per year.
Okay.
But this has been modified, for some years now because of climate change. Because the Colorado River holds less water now, and so some water allocation reductions have been applying to Mexico for the past couple of years. Some of them represent some 7-10% at the moment, of the overall yearly allocation. But again, because of projections, we are expecting, or actually there is agreement between the countries that these reduction in allocations are going to increase in the following years.
Oh, wow. So how can Mexico protect its water rights, or are there specific mechanisms in the current treaties that have proven effective?
To be honest, we are kind of unprepared for this, although projections are, available for so many years. But perhaps we don't like to respond, to the problem until we have the problem right in front of us. And that's what's happening right now. As I said, there is now some reduction in water allocation to Mexico. And this is having an impact, especially in the Mexicali Valley, which is in Baja California, and it's a big agriculture agriculture valley.
Okay.
And however, the farmers are now using more groundwater to supply, water for their crops instead of using surface water. Okay, so at the moment, the aquifer, has water, but again, in 5 years, in 10 years, if things, do not,
it won't have
rain, because of the impact of climate change, then also the aquifer is going to be overexploited, and now that water is not going to be available for crop production.
This is a complicated issue. There's a rich country upstream of a less rich one, both of which suffer water shortages, and both need to ensure water for important societal needs, like food security. I asked Leo how he thought Mexico might rise to the complex set of challenges that this creates.
One of the things that I really pursue is wastewater reuse. So this wastewater reuse has to be done very responsibly. Okay, we have schemes in many places in the world in which untreated wastewater is used for agriculture. And I mean, like, we can understand that, but the health, issues related to this are very, very concerning.
Important. Crop safety is super important. And you work on this, don't you? You personally work on this subject.
Exactly. But there are also some nice, examples of when things are done properly, and following guidelines and following, a recipe, let's say, for success, then they can be successful. And like, for example, here in Ensenada, we managed to reuse water when the wastewater treatment plants were working really, really good. And basically we reactivated parts of a valley that had salty water and they couldn't produce anything, So now with the wastewater, they could produce flowers again and some fodder. But the problem is that whenever the wastewater, it all depends on the wastewater treatment. So when if the plant is not being maintained properly, then obviously the quality comes down, and instead of solving a problem, we're generating a problem because now we are polluting the fields and we are polluting creeks and things like that. So I always insist that this has to be done responsibly.
And that agricultural runoff will have an impact on transboundary water quality as well, surely.
Yes, and if we can provide the farmers with this treated wastewater that they can use for their fields, then they can, let's say, transfer the water rights to the city. So now the city can have more water for urban uses. Okay, so that's
like a water credit trading.
Exactly, and then you have a balance, in the system. You don't need a desalination plant. You don't need a new aqueduct to bring water from somewhere else. You can keep the balance, within.
Local.
Exactly, local.
Yeah. Thank you, Leo. As Leo said, droods and flouts are local issues. Water is a commodity. Water that has been treated to make safe and then delivered to the point of use has to be paid for. But it suffers the reverse of the economies of scale, as in the more you want, the further you have to go to get it. Bulk transfer schemes are expensive ways to alleviate shortages, and when they cross national boundaries, they are also contentious politically. This proposed desalination plant on the Sea of Cortez has a 300-kilometer aqueduct that would deliver water to Arizona that would cost 10 or 11 times more than Colorado River water would. Local water conservation and demand management makes much more sense.